Welcome to Social Confoes episode 2. Wow, that's a pretty nice intro. I'm here with my co-host Diego. Diego, that's a pretty dope intro.
Thank you. I'm glad my Saturday paid off.
Awesome. Hey, we have a special guest today. You want to introduce our guest for the evening?
Yeah, definitely. So, on today's second episode, we have another local podcaster in our midst, and we're gonna be conversing with the host of the Rachim show. Rachim, ready to jump in?
Welcome, Rahim. Can you hear us?
Smile for the camera. Anyways,
Hey guys, good
yeah,
evening. How are you?
we
Well,
are
we're good.
great.
And having you, it's actually the story. It's a fun story about this.
So I
So when
think
we
I'm having a little difficult.
Yeah, I think there's a lag. I'm not sure how much the lag is. We're surely gonna take him out and then gonna bring him back in and see if there's any change to that as well. Can you still hear us clearly?
Okay, we're getting some feedback from the people on the
Yeah,
platforms on
the live
LinkedIn.
the live on the website is perfect. The audio is not coming on LinkedIn. Okay, that's pretty interesting. I'm not sure I can. I'm actually happy that it's shown on LinkedIn. But that is a concern if the audio isn't working. Oh, stream was muted by default. Oh, thank you for letting us know. Okay, what we're gonna have to figure out next is if we have Rahim still on by, or maybe we should ask him to rejoin the stream if that's possible. Rahim, do you hear us clearly now?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Rejoin.
So, yeah, it's an option. Let's try that.
Okay.
All
See you
right.
in a minute. See you in a minute.
Yeah. While
All
we
right.
wait for Rahim to rejoin, just checking all the platforms. We are good on
It's
YouTube.
awesome. We're actually
Facebook is
getting a
good.
lot of response. So Gregory said, okay, wait, the stream was muted by default. Leroy is hearing, I have audio. So Leroy, thanks for confirming that you have audio. Diana is also confirming that she can hear us loud and clear. Thank you all for commenting on LinkedIn, which we are really happy about. It has been 3 weeks and we finally got LinkedIn working. And Tevin said the show is on the website is perfection. Okay, so Stefan also confirmed now. He's seeing it on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on the website, on Facebook. All good from the side. Thank you, Stefan. Now we can go back and put Rahim back in. And hopefully, Rahim, you can see us clearly now as well and hear us as well.
Yes, I can see you clearly. I can hear
Awesome.
you clearly. There was just a little problem in the beginning.
So
Yeah,
it's
I
just
think
a
there.
Windows remedy, reboot, restart, and everything's fixed.
Yes.
Anyways,
Yeah.
welcome again to Social Confoes. And as we've mentioned before, Rahim is the host of the Rahim Show, his own podcast that he started last year amidst the pandemic. And it's quite funny
Yes.
because we kind of have a similar backstory. We both started during the pandemic, and it's funny how things work out. 6, 7, 8 months later, here we are in the same room, same space, talking about what are we gonna be talking about? The space we are actually entering now, podcast.
So I want to give a quick backstory if I'm allowed to. So Rahim, when Diego and I announced the podcast, Social Confoes, it was kind of episode 0, and we spoke a little bit about we do want to have people in to talk a little bit about starting something online or creating something online, whether it was using the
Yes.
internet for business, but also doing work online and getting paid for it. And I think
Yes.
for us in developing countries, especially in small market countries, we're not aware with the possibilities. So maybe you can tell a bit about how it started, how your internet journey started.
So my internet journey started actually when I was looking for when it was time to look for a side hustle because my salary wasn't cutting it anymore, and I didn't want to work let's say, another job somewhere else for someone else, because working for someone is already hard enough for me. So I did not want to do that. So when the pandemic hit, I lost my job, and it kind of got serious for me. It kind of got serious, and I was figuring out, yeah, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do it? And then I thought of a few years ago, before the pandemic, I signed up for Upworks. Yes, for Upworks. And yeah, I wasn't there mostly for research because I wanted to write about it. So I set up a profile, very professional, like it's kind of like LinkedIn, and then companies started posting jobs, and I looked at a job, everything, and then I was thinking about, are Surinamese people on here? So I was kind of looking, and then I saw a few Surinamese people, and they were actually doing it good on Upwork. So Upwork is a platform, it's like a freelance platform, but it's not only about freelancing. They actually they list full-time jobs on there, and it enables the possibility to work from home. All you need to have is internet, and depending on what type of job, of course, the skills. And yeah, Upworks
So
is really cool. And then you think about how to get paid, and I also figured that out. It's one
so
thing to
okay,
find a job, it's
quickly
another.
quickly
Hmm.
about that. So just for people watching, just to imagine, what kind of work would you be doing on Upwork?
Um, there's there's actually a lot that I feel Surinamese people have to offer on Upworks. One popular listing, and I actually one popular category is translation, and I actually have that marked on for my feed of job listing, and translation from English to Dutch, because that's one of the things. And you know, people, the blogging market. Let's start with blogging. The blogging market. Everything, when you Google something and you're trying to find out something, everything is in English. So people are trying to find new markets, and the and then there's the Dutch market, and then they seek translators for that particular job to translate existing content to Dutch for the Dutch market, translation of product labels. When it comes to web shops, translation of product descriptions, and another is web design, customer service, and a lot more. Actually, customer service, I actually got an invitation to apply for a job for um, Strikingly. I don't know if you know about Strikingly.
No.
Strikingly is okay. Strikingly is like it's like Wix.
Oh, the
It's a
website
website
builder.
builder.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a website builder. You can have your own website, and it's a pre-made websites, and it's really easy to build, and it's called Strikingly, and they grew really fast over the past 2-3 years, and it's a Chinese company actually, and I got an invitation to apply for a job there, but it was a full-time position, and actually I'm not looking for a full-time position somewhere else right now because I'm focused on other things. But it's nice to know that the option is there. Depending on your skills, of course, you will get randomly invitations to apply for a job from the recruiters of Upworks.
Okay, but
That is
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
we got a question here from Gregory. But before you go into that, uh, answering that, please elaborate on how you got the payment option secured. Um, It's quite interesting that you mentioned that there's a wide
Mhm.
variety of work on Upwork and especially that of languages. And I think we here in Suriname underestimate the value that our Dutch background has, especially in the region.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
because I I was actually quite surprised how much listings there were that I feel like Surinamese people could do, and they could actually work from home using the internet. And even with a pandemic like this, where people loses their job, where people lose their jobs and have to apply for another job somewhere else, and then you have the risk of getting COVID, especially when you have a family or when you have like elderlies in your home. I think this is a safe way of still being able to make money and being able to keep your family safe. And it's quite good. I advise people to check Upworks, if and of course there's another website, a competitor, Fiverr, yes. And one of my friends, they asked me to check out Fiverr, and I was on Fiverr. And the difference between Upworks and Fiverr has, it has too much. It's like a
And you have to
marketplace, but
market
a really
yourself,
chaotic market. Yes, you
but
have
you
to
also
market
have to
yourself.
branch
It's too
yourself
chaotic.
basically,
Yes,
because that's
and
what
you
I'm
have to.
trying to
I
figure
feel
out.
like on yes, at Fiverr you have to market and brand yourself. The competition is too high, and if you see what people offer and you think, Why would I do that for $3 an hour?" And um, the marketplace on Fiverr is really competitive, and it's too chaotic, and you have to do a lot more to be able to get a job or to get a project. And on Upworks, you just make a profile like LinkedIn, make it professional, all your skills and everything, and you are the ones, and the companies are the ones that are listing the jobs, right? Some offer a budget, so you can see if you want to do that work for that money. And but you are in control of looking for jobs, and it's really fun. And you get like 50 tokens a month, and one application can be like 2 tokens, so it's enough for a whole month if you send out, I think, 25 applications. And some applications are free. And when you get an invitation to apply, actually, this is a funny story about the invitation to apply for a job. I received an invitation from Microsoft, and I was really excited about that. I was really excited. I was thinking, whoa, is this for real? The recruiters are looking, they send me an invitation, and they send out about 60 invitations to apply for a Dutch position in customer service for Microsoft. And I was like, I need to do this. I need to at least try. I don't know much about Microsoft because I've been using all Mac products since
Ooh,
2015. And but yeah, I was thinking about how hard can it be? Everything is on the internet. If I'm just stuck with something, then I can just Google it. So I took the chance and applied for the job and went through, I think, 3 interviews. And
okay.
at the last interview, they told me that if this were another customer service job, that I would definitely get it. But for this particular job, I couldn't get it because of my lack of skills in Microsoft.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
And
Wow.
that's the day I
Okay.
signed up for
That's
the
quite an
Microsoft.
experience to have gone through.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
But could you elaborate a bit more on that whole process of going through the application and
Yes,
especially
yes,
the
but it's
questions
fun. It's a
that
it's a real fun experience.
that Gregory asked a few moments ago on how people can get that payment option secured, because more often than not, that's usually a high
I'm
barrier.
sorry.
Yeah, so we have to talk about the payment for Upwork. How do people get their money? Because we've
Okay,
discussed
okay,
other options, and that's the main problem for most of us.
okay. Yes. So the before I get to the
Oh
the
no.
really having it today. So, but I think I got it. Let's say the application sign up is super easy. You can just sign up with your Google account. That's super easy. That's the first step, of course. The second step is to create your profile. The third step is setting up your payment. Of course, the payment method you wish to receive your funds. And for Suriname, the best way is through Payoneer. So Payoneer actually works with our, I mean, Upworks actually works with Payoneer. And setting up an account with Payoneer is super easy. You guys have to check out Payoneer. It's probably one of the best payment methods for freelancers. It's like PayPal basically, but only for professionals, for the professional world, not for personal things like, hey, I want to donate, something to somewhere there. And you can actually, as a freelancer, you can actually um, generate invoices in Payoneer. So the setup
Oh, okay,
process
that's
for
nice.
Payoneer, the first thing you need to know is you need to know your local, yes, you need to know your local bank uh, information, your bank account number, your name. You need to have a copy of your passport or ID, and you need to know what's the international code thingy again that every bank
Swift
has for
Swift
international
code.
wire transfers.
Is it the
Ivan,
Swift code
Ivan.
I
or the
forgot what
IBAN?
it's called,
Yeah,
but
it's either the Swift
this
code or the IBAN.
Swift.
I
Edwig
think
is helping us out. The Swift code, is that it?
yes, the Swift. Yes, the
Yeah.
Swift code. Of course, you need to have that, and you set up your application. You send every information to Payoneer, and Payoneer will review all of the information. And within a few days, you will have your verification. And when you're verified, then you have it. And you get like um, a virtual
Bank account.
USD bank
Yeah.
account number,
Okay.
a virtual euro bank account number, and one for pounds. Yes, one for pounds. And if I'm not mistaken, the virtual account number that I have is from a bank in New York City. I forgot what the bank name is. And the euro one is in Germany, and of course the pound sterling is from the UK.
The UK. Yeah.
I think it's Berkeley or something. I forgot, but it's a really popular bank.
Barclays.
So when you have that set up, then things will get super easy in terms of payment. So what you can do, if you're if you're ready to get paid, then the funds get transferred to your Payoneer account, and you decide um, when you want to move that money to your local bank account, of course.
Okay.
Gregory has
So
a
And it's
valid
cheap.
yeah.
comment there. You said the transaction fees for international bank transfer. So you say it's possible to get the money from your Pioneer account transferred to, for example, one of the local banks here.
How much
Yeah,
does it
it's
cost? That's what
actually
we want to know.
actually transfers from Payoneer to your local account. So the percentage is really low. I don't know on the top of my head how much the percentage is, but I see that many people are interested in this topic, so I should be able to know it actually. I'm gonna research that really fast,
You
but it's really
should
cheap.
write a blog post about
It's not.
this,
It's
Rahim.
actually yes. That's you guys are giving me ideas. I should elaborate on this topic and write blogs and post maybe episodes about Payoneer, a dedicated episode. But the thing about Payoneer is international transfer funds are cheaper than actually wire transfers. If people did wire transfers before, then you know that wire transfers from your bank is really expensive. And if you compare that with Payoneer, then Payoneer is a lot less. So and you have to be really smart when to transfer funds to your local bank account from Payoneer, from your Payoneer bank account. Let's say for one job you get $100. It's not wise to transfer those funds directly to your local bank account. So wait a little until it becomes like 1,000 or 2,000. So the cost for that amount is actually, what's the word, beneficial.
Okay.
Am I
See,
using the
there's
right word?
already Yeah, but I see there's already some things going on. So I quickly want to do a quick shout out round for everybody who's joining because the chat is really lighting up. So we want to thank you. From the beginning, Leroy mentioned that a normal 9 to 5 doesn't cut it for most of us. It just doesn't anymore. Fishant, who was guest here last week, is joining in as well. We're getting some compliments from the audio, but it happens to be that we actually have 3 people now, all with podcasting mics. So that's a really interesting. Devon also mentioned it, and we're getting a shout out from Plu. He's liking it so far. Gregory is giving you a boo on the Mac part. Marvin is also joining in. Thanks for joining in. Very nice quote by Leroy that he's saying a wise man once said that if you don't have the skills, say yes. Learn the skills over time. Stefan is also going into the mic topic. Gregory just joined Pioneer. Joseph joined in as well, talking about Pioneer. We have a lot of people jumping in to tell us about that the code was the Swift code. And Tanya is actually off, so she's joining us. Thank you for joining in, Tanya. And then, of course, we're going into some questions about Pioneer. Is it MasterCard? Also, Joseph is mentioning that you can also get a Pioneer card with that you can cash out at the ATM. That's very, very useful advice. Thanks for that. And Jean-Luc does mention, not me, but Jean-Luc Marejo does mention that you do need a verified business. So maybe you can also explain a little bit. And he's also saying that the cost for withdrawing to a local bank with a Pioneer card is low. So there are some options, but I think the most important thing is uh, this gives us an option. That's for sure. Payoneer is already a big help. I think there are some people that cannot wait for the Pioneer amount to get to like $1,000 US. There are some people who actually are looking for how can I pay my rent with online services. So is the Pioneer the best option? Roel is also saying it that the Pioneer is Mastercard. So and also, Payoneer cards are supported by Surinamese ATMs. So, is the Payoneer card the way to go?
I did a little bit of research on actually ordering a Payoneer card. Um, yeah, I don't know. They have percentage on everything. They on every little thing that you do with your card. It's They have too much of the hidden fees and too much
Let
of the
me, if I may,
percentages
I
and
could chime in on that.
actually Payoneer is not Mastercard, but you can order a Payoneer card, which is a Mastercard. But I think they're doing virtual cards now.
Yeah, I have some experience with the card and Pioneer itself. I have made a Payoneer account like I think 3 or 4 years ago. I was on a journey as well, looking for
Mm-hmm.
options, using the platforms. I actually have a Pioneer card, probably expired by now because I never used it. um, but yeah, they have the option for shipping the physical card to you. So I just applied online and it got shipped to my mailbox at home in a little envelope. And then you got to activate it online once you get it. And yeah, not sure about the fees. Yeah, they also have virtual options. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but Payoneer, as Jean-Luc Marengo said, it's very strict with verified businesses. I did have experience, luckily, last year with Payoneer. I actually had managed to use my account when I was in New Zealand. I was doing
Okay.
some freelance gigs for Uber Eats,
That's
photography.
cool.
So
Oh,
the company,
nice.
yeah, so the company I did it through was a French company, and they posted jobs in the area from restaurants. You gotta think, pandemic hits, everyone is doing takeout, so all these restaurants want to do good pictures for Uber Eats. So they just pop in for local photographers, and Payoneer was the main method of how they paid out the freelance photographers. What they did there is you just connect the Payoneer with your bank account, but that depends on each country. So in my case, it got directly transferred to my bank account when it got deposited in Payoneer. But yeah, I had
Okay.
the account. I could have also used the card if and left it in my balance, online balance. But those are the options. And we also got an option for the other Diego Wolof mentions here, if you've heard of TransferWise. And we have mentioned TransferWise previously before. I think it was episode 0, right? Or test episode.
Yeah.
TransferWise is another option for getting payments. You can make virtual accounts as well. I also have that. I actually helped someone set one up, I think, a week or so ago. The only issue there is you can't you can't transfer it as an international transfer to your local bank, but you can't make that connection directly with Surinamese banks. They also have the debit card option, but that's not supported here. But the way I use it kind of like, a kind of savings account online. You save up, and with the virtual cards and international transactions, if you need to do an international, I just use that as my bank instead of doing an international transfer from my local bank here. So that's an option you could look at too. And maybe an idea for you, Rachim, is doing a comparison on Payoneer and TransferWise.
I just wrote it down.
There are also a couple of people in, just like you, Diego Pli already also had a card that he mailed to Suriname a few years back, but he never used it. Um, the card fees are low, Jean-Luc says, but I think it's how much you use it. If you're gonna pay $25 a year, then you better use it. Otherwise it's just a reoccurring cost and you don't get them out of it. Leroy actually said the Pioneer app reviews are a little bit shaky, so we do have to check that out as well. And Giorgio is actually also using TransferWise. I do want to say, I think what I like the most is that we have a Surinamese person living in New Zealand, shooting photos for Uber Eats in France. I mean, that just tells you like what kind of world we're kind of living in at the moment, and that just gives us a lot of opportunities. And I think, let's be honest, these opportunities 10 years ago they weren't there. So
No.
we actually have opportunities as Surinamese people, like you said before, Rahim. We should start seeing how we can benefit from opportunities online because there are so many opportunities online. And yes, I think the payment is still a hurdle. I think for a lot of people, the payment process is a hurdle, especially if you don't have an international bank account. But it's getting easier,
Yeah.
and we shouldn't sleep on that because I think most of us, and like Rahim also mentioned, a lot of us are looking for a way to get paid in euros or in US dollars because over time it gets worth more compared to the SRD. So if you have that option, I mean, we should definitely look into how we can benefit from that as well, because we have skills that maybe due to an economic recession in Suriname, those skills aren't as valued, but abroad they are really valued. So we should definitely check it out.
Yes, yes, it's a really nice opportunity. Um, you know, people actually, I don't know if it's the crowd I hang around with, but everyone is so fixated on YouTube and how to earn from YouTube and how to get monetized on Twitch or something. And I feel like there is more online how you can earn a decent amount of money. Maybe not as much as you would probably earn from being a YouTuber, but it's still something that can help get you by in this lifestyle, Surinamese lifestyle, and um, and also a few years back, I think it was 2 years ago, I was so curious on how the internet sex industry is working. And the
So are you
easiest
gonna tell
part,
us about your OnlyFans account?
no, 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 no. I'm actually not there yet, but I was thinking on trying it out to see what all the fuss is
For
about.
research purposes, yeah. For research purposes.
Yes, and maybe to write about it. But there's I did do research on what they call in Dutch tikken. It's like texting, but it's not basically, yeah, it's not basically sex, It's more of having conversation, messaging conversation with someone, and you get paid for every message. So there are, I think, one or
Okay.
two companies here, or maybe more here, that offer those services, and I think you get like a 7 euro cents per message or something, which is not much.
Well,
It's
first of
really,
all,
you have to
how
work
did
really
you
hard for it.
find these
Yeah.
companies and these options? What's your secret of finding
Well,
opportunities?
the secret of finding these companies is actually Googling for it. Google is your best friend, really. Google is really your best friend. And
Or
what
Reddit.
I found was I was actually curious, can someone who is Surinamese work directly for such a company instead of through a Surinamese company? That was my main focus and my main goal. So what I found is there are a lot of these Dutch companies, and working directly for them is not possible. But if you look hard enough, you will find some companies that actually they are welcoming Surinamese people. And I thought it was about, just, oh, how hard can text messaging be? Believe me, it's so hard because the whole setup, I don't get it, because in Suriname, they advertise it as you don't have to have any skills. You just need internet and a laptop, and you just need to know how to write Dutch. That's it. You know? So that perception gave me the idea that how hard can it be? It's got to be easy. But when you get in the system, it's like when you get in the back office of it all, it's like you see a message. You have to look at the log. What was the history? What were the last messages? Because you're impersonating a person, a persona, an identity is given to you, and you impersonate that identity, right? So, but it doesn't mean that you keep impersonating that identity. One message, let's say you're Anna for now, for this particular message. So when you send that, you get maybe Brittany or Nico, but your next colleagues get Anna, the personality. So she needs to know what I did with my previous message, and you have to do all that in 5 minutes, and you have to write really fast, and you have to know about the guy. How does he write? How is his the way he talks? What is his mindset and everything? And I'm gonna tell you, most people think it's about sex, but it's not. It's actually I was actually quite surprised. The people are really having meaningful conversations on there. It's like you're their therapist. You're talking about problems and all of those kind of things. And that was one research I did a few years ago, and it was kind of funny. And I did it for a month, and I was thinking, no, you need probably more skills. And the reason why I did it because I was figuring out if I could set up such a company in Suriname, but I looked away from it. Too much work, not for me.
Would you say a psychology degree would be beneficial for
A
something like this?
psychology a psychology degree would probably be beneficial. Yes, yes. And that industry came under fire. I think 1 or 2 years ago, because you're basically catfishing people, right? So the Dutch authorities, the European Union authorities, they kind of regulated that industry, and everything was down. And then they stopped making promises and those kind of things. So the way you have to talk now, um, you have to look at all of those things, because you cannot promise someone that you will see him when in fact you won't see him. So now I guess now it's a bit difficult to do the job. I don't know.
But can we do it right
Maybe
directly?
I
Because
should
I'm
enter
thinking
the
here.
business again, the industry again.
Yeah, but here's a suggestion, Rahim, and I'm gonna go a little bit further with this because somebody mentioned that it escalated quickly. But we're looking for solutions here, and we're looking for things that we know Surinamese people are good at, and Surinamese people are quite good at chatting in general. We're quite
Yes,
good at chatting.
yes, yes.
So
Making
so so
conversations.
so why does it have to be that? And we're looking at disruption, right? And if we look at
Hmm.
disruption, we're cutting out the middleman. In these cases, these are these companies where you have to be Anna, and then somebody else becomes Anna, and then they have to go into the character of Anna. And what if you take that away? What if you get to chat with somebody directly? What if
Directly.
you bring that? Yeah.
Instead of a
What do you
So
persona,
mean?
like instead
instead
of
of a
create.
persona that changes around, you get a person that, and if that person is not available, and that's kind of because we're talking about OnlyFans and similar kind of websites where you it's just one person.
Hmm.
So if you can build around, take out the middleman, actually have somebody in Europe saying like, okay, you want to speak with somebody who's Dutch, you're lonely, you want to speak with somebody who also speak Dutch, here's a you and you're directly in contact with somebody in Suriname. It doesn't have to be a persona, but and that person gets paid for the text. It's kind of disrupting the whole idea that it has to go. Of course it goes through a company, but you're
Yes.
bringing people directly in contact, and in the end of the day, it's what's important for the end consumer. I was going to ask you, like, do you have to be an end consumer to do the research? That was one of my questions that I had. But still, it's about the end consumer. So if the end consumer is happy, why would you need all that setup to have personas and actually you don't know who's on the other side?
I think
Yes, yes, it's also possible, but yeah,
Leroy makes a point here.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
think it's something about, it's also about privacy,
Yeah,
and
privacy and
your safety.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there are other websites actually where you can use your own identity, but yeah, I haven't looked into that, so
Okay,
I
but there's
can't
there's two
say anything
options.
more.
There's two
Hmm.
options. One option is it's directly you still use a different name. You use a
Hmm.
pseudonym. I mean that's understandable because there are privacy regulations. So in one case you would have, but it would be the same person. That's
Hmm.
one. And
Yeah.
the other one, of course, is actually transparent. And that brings, especially how small the world is. Like if you're on one of these sites and you have family in the Netherlands, they're like, oh, we heard that you're on this site. Yeah, sure. um, but it's also part education, like you said. It's not all about, because people, when they hear this, they immediately think about it's sex, 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 but it's actually,
Yes.
there is more to it than that. There's a reason why people are
There's
genuinely
actually,
lonely.
yes, there's actually more to it than that. Actually, I have a few friends who are in the webcam business, right? They've been earning for years internationally, and they are in the webcam business. And the moment you start, and it's a webcam business, it's basically sex, but there's there are a few smart ones, and they told me that once you start giving the end user, the end consumer, what they want, you're done. You're done, and there goes your salary. He's off to the next one. So you have to keep things interesting. Try to have meaningful conversations, and it's not always about sex. And it's not allowed, but from the side, one time I visited my friend, and she was like, come see what I do for work, but stand there on the side of the computer, and I see what they're texting and how she's interacting, and I'm like, oh, but this is, how is this sexual? you know and she's like, no, because it's not sexual. It's just we're having conversations, and I get paid by the minute. The longer I keep him here, the longer I keep him interested. It's and that's when I thought differently. That's why I started thinking differently about these kinds of jobs. As long as you're earning um honest money, then I'm okay with it. I have all the respect for you, for everyone who do these kinds of jobs. And actually, and sex is not the only option you can do online. There are things like drop shipping. There are things like, if you're in the graphic design industry, you could do a lot online. If you're in the customer service business, if you've worked for an international company before, then it would be so easy for you to find jobs on Upworks. There are many, many, many opportunities. I, I mean, a lot of people are listening to right now. So, yeah, I would, if someone that is listening was looking for something to do and earn maybe US dollars or something, and get a wage of $10 instead of 10 SRD, it's huge difference. So now is your chance. Go look it up.
Okay.
Let's do something fun for a moment. So you've
Yes.
covered a wide range of opportunities, possibilities for people to, I guess, earn something online, from simple translations to renting a companion and keeping them entertained through chat messages.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you had to rank from based on your research and the range you've covered, rank them in an order from like shady to least shady, or in other words, that people don't really have to be ashamed about, or like, and that's what they would be more open to sharing. Hey, I'm a creator on Upwork, for example. How would you rank these options that you've mentioned so far?
Actually, Upworks is quite secure. If you read their terms of conditions, they only guarantee safety. They advise all the people on Upworks that, if you do business or if you talk a deal on Upworks, do it through Upworks, so they can monitor that and everything, and the payment goes through Upworks, because Upworks takes like, I think, 20% of your earnings. That's why Upworks is free, but it's actually, it sounds much, it is, but it's not that bad. So everything goes through Upworks, and the guarantee of payments, and what to look for actually on Upworks is, one, that you know that they are a um, verified company on Upworks, and verified payer. I think it's verified payer or something. But look for the verifications underneath the listings to see how much did they spend on Upworks, how much did a company spend on Upwork. If they already spent, let's say, 10K on Upworks, then you know, hey, I can work for this. Look for reviews, because people um, freelancers are leaving reviews for um, these kind of companies and the jobs they did, and vice versa. Also, companies are leaving reviews for freelancers to let other companies know if they did a good job. So when it comes to shady, Upworks is probably zero shade
Okay.
for me.
Okay.
Yes.
I do want
When it
to jump
comes to
into
yes,
a question because Jermaine asked, are we talking about online consult, like online consult as a professional? In the sense that I was talking about it, I wasn't talking about online consult as a professional because you need actual skill for that. But come to
mm,
think of it, it is possible. I think we are might not be ahead of other countries, but if you have a particular skill and due to the pandemic you are used to doing it online, you might be able to get some clients in other countries because other countries are still also looking for people who are able to do it digitally. So there
mm,
might be an opportunity in that. I think Devin also was mentioning that his brother is on Upworks. Fiverr is one of them. We spoke a little bit about Fiverr as well. Plus that they are like your agent. Technically, they are. So
yes,
20%,
yes,
20% is a lot, but comparing it to a company that would take everything and would give you a salary, it's still quite nice. Somebody does want
yes,
to know define shady. So that's also something that you can respond to. And last but not least, Gregory is saying that he has a very nice profession. Gregory, I think you should not only look into Upworks, but also look into other websites or other companies that might be of interest in your profession. Yeah. So
yeah,
what define shady? What's shady?
Well, in with shady, I mean, as Rachim mentioned, Upwork, they verify stuff and they do background checks on the companies, and they check the reviews. Shady, as in, it's not as public as something like Upwork. It is something you have to, as Rachim mentioned, you have to Google search and dig through layers and layers and layers to find these kind of opportunities. So that's what I was directing to with the word
Ah,
shady. I hope
yeah.
that
yeah, that makes
clarifies.
sense. That makes sense.
So what
So
are
is
we
it time
talking
for the
about
question?
next?
Yeah, so I think this question is lightning round. You wanna do some quick fire quick questions, Diego?
Yeah, let's. We're gonna do it like last week again, or let's.
I you want to switch it up? One question each, and then one question, and then one question, or do you want to do three questions from one person after each other?
Okay, you start off. Three questions. Go.
Three questions. Okay. So the first question is going to be I'm going to go a little bit on the platform side. So the first question is going to be Facebook or LinkedIn.
For me,
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
Okay. Diego.
Um, Gary Vee or Joe Rogan?
Gary Fee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, then we're going to go YouTube or TikTok.
This is a hard one, you know? um I'm going with TikTok.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
I'm going with TikTok. You know, I'm on YouTube. The only thing, when I'm on YouTube, I'm actually on YouTube when I want to learn something or know about something or follow a conversation about something that I'm interested in or curious about. But when I'm on TikTok, I'm there for just to breathe, you know, and enjoy content. And there are really funny ones between the messy ones on TikTok, but I really like the funny one. Actually, my favorite TikToker is right now. She's an Indian woman. I I forgot what her name is, but she's an Indian woman. She and her husband are on TikTok. I think it's the Indian dad or something is the husband, and he has this like a sticker on his face. They are they are couple goals. I mean, they are amazing. The content that they produce, I feel like, I see a lot of Surinamese TikTokers also. One of my favorite is Kaylee. Kaylee's one of my favorite TikTokers also. But I feel like a lot of other Surinamese people can learn from the Indian couple that I was just talking about. I think I'm gonna, if I find it, I'm gonna place it in the comments what their accounts are. But man, their content is gold. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, so TikTok it is. Um,
yeah.
this isn't an A or B question, but your podcasting application of choice to listen to podcasts.
Apple Podcast.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
And then last question from me, that would be, since we're talking about podcasting or blogging?
Mm, I'm gonna go for. I know, I'm a podcaster, but I'm going for blogging. And
Okay.
there's a reason why. Um, I was looking for podcast websites, and I found one. I think it's the Business Minute or something. Those two guys talking about business and what to do and what not to do. And I checked their whole website out, and I think, hey, this is actually smart. The topic that they're talking about, they're also writing about it. So this, what's smart about that is the SEO behind it. So when sometimes you look for something on Google, if you write a paragraph or two underneath your description about what the topic is, I know people won't read it because, I mean, you're not going to a podcast to read something, but it's for the purpose of SEO that you would want to elaborate your topic in words in the description. So, and that's, I think that is a part of blogging. I mean, if you want to keep it interesting.
I
So
actually want
Diego, who's writing the blog for this podcast episode?
before we get into that, I actually want to follow up on what Rachim said there. And true enough, yeah, having those many words on your post helps with SEO. But I'm curious, especially for new creators or someone who's wanting to start something like this. You have a array, a wide, vast array of knowledge regarding the online mechanisms and how these things work, from SEO to marketing to doing research on OnlyFans. Um,
Yeah.
so you kind of have an advantage in that sense. So I'm curious, how did you come to, learn all this? And if you had to recommend a starting point, should people worry about these things, SEO and stuff, before starting? Can you tell us about your journey and the time frame it took you to get to the point you are now running your own podcast show?
um, when did I actually start thinking about doing something online for real? I'm 30 now, and I thought I was 22 or 20 that I wanted to do something online. But when I got my first iPhone, it was the 5. It was the iPhone 5. That's when the iPhone 5 came around. And then there was this app, Apple Podcast, and I'm like, "Hey, what is this?" So I started listening to it, and I was like, "Hey, this is something I can do. I don't like to be on video. I'm too nervous, or I don't know. Maybe I have to work on self-confidence a little bit, but the whole podcasting idea, that was just mind-blowing to me because when I was 17, I actually did an internship at SCCN, Radio SCCN, yes. And Radio SCCN offered me a few hours every day of the week from 3 till 6 in the afternoon. So that was one of the hottest hours, between 4 and 6. Many people were listening. And after that, I
Yeah.
got offered to do a show on Monday night where, callers call and we have conversations, and they request a song and dedicate a song, and they do a lot of things like singing and poems and those kind of things. And that's what I did for 1 year between 17 and 18, right? I think I was 17, or was I 18? I don't know, but it was somewhere that year. And then I never did it because I was moving on to my next interest. And when I got, I think, when I found out about what podcasting was, I was thinking, hey, I can get into this, doing my own thing on my own time on the internet. But it was so hard to get even on Apple Podcasts. All those things that they wrote about on how to get on Apple Podcasts, I was like, I ain't doing this. Too much work. And then I forgot about it, right? And I'm a curious person. So whenever I have a question or something, I go on Google and I read about stuff. So a starting point would be to have Google as your friend. Whatever you're curious about, Google about it. You'll find some really helpful stuff that will lead into different areas that will make you more curious. And then you start Googling those things, and it brings you to different branches until you reach the leaves, right? And then you get this base of knowledge, and you're thinking about, what am I supposed to do with this knowledge, right? And then you figure out your next move. And then came Anchor for me. Anchor came, I was like, hey, Anchor, it was promoted on social media and everywhere. I was like, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I can do this. So I was figuring out Anchor, but I didn't start right away. And then the pandemic hit. I was delaying all of the plans, and then the pandemic hit, and I thought, I have nothing to do. I have free times on my hands, so why not start a podcast? So, and then I worked on the Rachim show, and I have 11 episodes, about, I think, 430 minutes of content, and I'm starting next week. And next week I'm gonna talk about why we should start doing business online.
Very, very interesting.
Nice.
Yes. Yes, why, no, 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 why businesses should do business online
Just online.
um with a developer, actually. Actually, I got to know the developer through Jean-Luc from a project we just did. Akash, I talked to him. Akash showed me his work and everything, and we talked about his work. It was a fun conversation, and I'm thinking, and Akash is busy with a few projects right now, and I'm thinking, hey, this is so cool. We should talk about this. Why should businesses go online, especially now, right? And I think it's really important, especially in these times, for businesses to go online to survive, because uh, I don't know how people do it, but for me, I can't do it like this, where does the government say, hey, you have to lock down everything, close for like 3 weeks, and then you're open, and then you have to close again, and then you're open, then you have to close again. It's a hassle, and it brings too many other problems along.
Something to
So we're
look
going to
for.
talk about it next week. Yes.
Yeah, something to look
Actually.
forward to. And I guess this perfectly brings me back to my final question: English or
Yes.
Dutch?
When it comes to writing, funny enough, when it comes to writing, English.
Okay.
Yes. But when it comes to Dutch, oh, when it comes to speaking, Dutch. But when and it's like a chameleon, I'm like a chameleon. It's like when I used to work in the international field, I used to work in freight forwarding and shipping, international logistics. And I worked a lot with China and Malaysia, also with Italy for the spaceship program in Kourou, French Guyana, when they were building the spaceship. Yes, I monitored that project from actually the moving of all the parts from Suriname, from Italy to French Guyana. And I had partners in French Guyana, and it was actually the most rewarding project I ever did, successful project I ever did. And when I'm in that setting for years, where you're constantly between people that you have to have a conversation with in English, then it automatically becomes English, and it automatically becomes really good. But I haven't been around English speaking people for a long time, for a few years now. So this is the first time actually since I've spoken, I think, 1 hour of full conversation in English in a long time. So it's
Well, I gotta
interesting.
say, you've been pretty fluent and on point,
Yeah,
even poetic to a point when you were
yeah.
explaining.
It really was a very nice experience. It still is, of course. We do have to go to the closing remarks. I want to drop one more comment in from Priscilla, and I think it might be of use to talk about this. I like having conversations with ambitious and like-minded people as well, but I'm so camera shy. I like to talk about business opportunities, entrepreneurship, because we have so much potential in Suriname. I think a lot of people struggle with this. I wouldn't say that I'm. Of course, I've built myself to become an extrovert. You guys are a little more introverted. So, what kind of tips would you have for those who are kind of seeing it as a threshold that we're shy, we're introverted?
I actually would say to Priscilla, it's okay. I'm shy as well, camera shy as well. Um, the best place, if you're camera shy, the best place would be to start with audio, right? When you're getting to a certain point, if you're interested in doing something online, it could be writing, it could be audio, it could be audio visual. So if you want to skip the writing part and go straight to audio, then I would advise to start there as a starting point. And it's really simple, actually. You just have to download the Anchor app.
Free
That's how I
advertisement for
started. It
Anchor.
looks
We
it
can,
looks like
yeah.
this. Yes.
I can quickly put
Okay.
something up. I think it's Anchor FM as well, right?
Yeah, Anchor FM. So Anchor FM is really simple, and I started before I had this microphone and all of the, and I recorded with GarageBand and everything. I recorded just with my phone, and actually just like this with this phone stand. This is my lighting. This is my lighting. I have two lights here, one here. But I would record like this. I would treat my phone like a microphone and talk like this and have a conversation and talk, elaborate on stuff. And afterwards I would edit it in the app as well. And the sound is actually, it's not that bad. It's really good actually. So I started like that, and when I got more comfortable, I decided to take it more professional and purchase this microphone. And because I saw that, hey, I'm getting comfortable with this, I'm getting listenerships, I'm getting views, I'm getting good remarks and positive feedback, some negative, but those are things to learn from. And and the fun part about Anchor is it gets distributed to multiple platforms, right? Like Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, and a lot more actually. So now, okay, now I see myself.
So I'm catching him off guard. I'm trying to put I'm trying to put, actually, I need electricity for my laptop because the battery is about to die. So I quickly put Rachim on full display, and he was like, "Wait a minute." So
Well,
so
you
we're gonna put Diego on full display now to answer as well, and then we're gonna
sure,
close the podcast off. Diego, it's all yours.
you can
Yeah,
put me on full display. Ah, there we go. Let's get used
yeah.
to this camera thing. So, yeah, for what I guess I'd say to Priscilla, me and Rahim are pretty much similar, and but one difference, being in front of the camera. You see the setup now. It's pretty. I'm using a camera now. I have lighting. But this is just this week. When we started 6, 7 months ago, I didn't have access. I was abroad. I didn't have access to all my gear. And I just had to make do with my no ZenBook, really slow processor, crappy mic, crappy webcam, and you just start. We talked about this in actually last episode, the episode of Casual Confoes that's releasing actually now. It just released 5 minutes ago because it's scheduled. Um, we reflected back on the very first episode we tried for Casual Confoes when we started the podcast. It was me and Gregory and one more friend. And out of all the places we tried, we did this on Instagram Live. And it was such a terrible experience because we tried to fit in 3 people on a platform where you can only fit 2 people. So, and we were trying to live stream it through the laptop, through my phone, and there was audio feedback coming in and out. The episode is still somewhere out there. If you want to see how bad it was to, see where we started, you can find it or message me. I'll send it to you directly. The topic was pretty interesting that we covered, but the recording setup, yeah, we were kind of camera shy as well. After that episode, we decided, okay, we're going to move to Discord, audio only. So we started playing with that. And as Rachim mentioned, this pandemic actually gave rise to opportunities. Platforms stepped up to make it more accessible for people to use it. Zoom started making their recording up a feature free for people. So I used my university's account to get free access to recordings. And that's how we started video podcast recording. And we only released audio for a while. And then slowly I started uploading those to YouTube. So it's a gradual process that you get used to, you get used to the camera, you get used to talking publicly to people. Even this, going live 3 weeks ago, I think 2 weeks ago for the first time with Shanluk, this wasn't even in the planning when we started. It was just a personal experiment, to get better. Talk to basically a camera, talk to one other person. So yeah, that's, I guess, my tip, I'd say. Don't worry about the gear. You can just use your phone, your laptop, whatever you have. And it's a good way to look at the previous episode and see how you've improved in the next. Just try to improve one little thing in each episode. And that was
That
the
is
approach.
that is a that is
Yeah.
a good thing. Actually, about talking about start with your phone. There are these two guys, right? Jardy and Roche. They have almost 10,000 subscribers on YouTube. And I asked them, "How do you record your videos and edit it?" They said, "With my phone." I'm like, "What? With
Yeah.
your phone? It's just too
Yes.
much. The work it takes to get all the editing done, But it goes to show that everything this device, it's a powerful device. If you have one, not an iPhone, but if you have a smartphone, start working with it. Just use it because it's smart. It's supposed to be smart. It's supposed to be creating opportunities for you, doing things for you. Don't let your phone control you. Control your phone. This is the device.
Minus the Apple logo. Just kidding.
Minus the Apple logo.
And here's the thing, Priscilla. Here's the fun thing. You're just witnessing two introverted people who are actually with an extrovert, and the extrovert is actually quiet and listening to their stories. So it is possible. I think I wanna use this comment by Hedwig to close off this part. Is if you talk about what you love, and I know you might be surprised how easy how easy it is to start talking in front of a camera. I think that's the advice. If you love it, like Jordi and Rocher is a perfect example. I mean, I was surprised how much they did with their phone when I first met them. And yes, Leroy, we need to adapt to the situation, and that's what we've been doing here. So and here, Michael, I'm quickly, as the extrovert, quickly gonna tell you a little bit story because Rahim spoke about when he was 17 and he was doing radio work. When I was 17, 18, I worked for Apinti for 3 months,
Mm.
and I got to the point. I got to do the sound. Got to be the sound guy for To the Point a couple of times, and I used to edit commercials out of American TV shows. But because in American TV shows you have a commercial every 5 minutes or something, so I had to edit those out and then deliver the TV show without commercials to the programming department, and but this was before in the branding was a thing, and there was a car accident or an accident on on the road somewhere, Verlengde Gemeenlandsweg, and we drove there with a camera crew, and they put me on the street, and I was young, I was I think 18, and one of the guys took a camera and he gave me a microphone, and he gave me the microphone, and he was like, "Tell the people what's going on." So he put the camera in my face, I took the microphone, and I was like, "Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing?" And then I went blank. I didn't even know on what street we were anymore. So that's my first on camera experience where I was actually a presenter. My first on camera experience when I was being interviewed, I messed up completely. I told a different age than I was. My first time standing on stage in a theater, I kept repeating, hello. And then somebody asked me, and how are you doing? I was like, hello. And we made a running gag out of it because I forgot my lines. So, to be honest, you just have to start somewhere. And if you love it, I mean, it's going to adapt. None of the three of us started where we are now. We never bought the microphone straight away. And even when we bought the microphone, we didn't use it straight away either. So I
Oh.
think it's a process of growth. It's really a process of growth. I think that's it. That's it from my side. I don't know if Diego, you have something before we close it off. If you want to have a quick. Sorry, I think your audio is off.
Are you on
Oh,
mute?
yeah.
Yeah,
As I was saying, I think it's just a combination or a compounding of the experiences you'll build, and you'll upgrade as needed through the process. You'll understand how audio works after a few episodes, and it takes some time. I had to get used to hearing my own voice. It's still weird hearing your own
it
voice.
is. It is.
Yeah,
Uh,
true here.
yeah, but yeah, in the end, you just own it, and it might sound cliche, but that's the simplest, easiest way I could put it. Just improve bit by bit, and you'll eventually get there. And
Yeah.
if you talk with like-minded people, even faster, because they're gonna lift you up and force you into these uncomfortable positions.
And you won't even notice it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's the last of it for me. Rahim, where can people find you? You've already mentioned you're releasing your new season next week or for this
No,
year.
it's actually we're continuing with season 2 of the Rachim Show. I have a Facebook page. It's called the Rachim Show, but the in the Dutch
Dutch.
DE, and yeah, and it's actually a Dutch podcast. So I'm focusing on the Dutch market, and we're yeah, and I'm starting posting next week. I'm gonna create content this weekend. Start creating this weekend. I have a few guests lining up. We're gonna talk with a yoga instructor, and we are going to talk about um, well-being and the internet. In relation to the internet, and I'm gonna talk with Akash about e-commerce. I'm gonna talk about my boys, with my boys, Dowie and Jean Luc, about having an online presence. So it's basically content that may help you if you're probably looking for help at that moment. Yes. So I want to say, go to my Facebook page. Sean Luke just posted it. I see. Go to my Facebook page and like the page, because I will be posting updates there. I'm also on LinkedIn. Um, Rachim Sonodimedjo on LinkedIn, and actually this at Rachim Su is my Instagram, and yeah, and that's my LinkedIn, and my Instagram is for my customs brokers work, because I'm
Okay.
not just, actually the first thing I do is customs brokerage, and then the whole online thing is comes second.
We'll drop all these links of Rahim when we release the episode on Saturday, on Sunday. So
Yes.
check check it out.
And
And
I just want to say one thing before closing. One last thing that I want to say. I want to, in light of the recent developments regarding, I was very upset today when I found out about this, because I wasn't that active the last few days on social media. But today I found out about a little girl that was murdered. And in light of the recent development, I would like to pay respect to the family of that little girl. And I would like to say to all of the people here listening, please take care of your mental health, and let people know that taking care of your mental health is okay. It's not something to be ashamed about. Yes, that's the last thing that I wanted to say.
Thank you, Rahim, for inspiring. Blue wants to thank us and thank you for doing a good job. Joseph wants to let you know that he already subscribed to your show, and I'm not sure we covered this, but Prisha wants to let you know that your first story was the first time she ever listened to an Apple podcast.
Thank you,
So
Trisha Alcar.
I think that is really cool, Diego. I think I'm gonna allow you to announce next week's show, and then we'll do the outro.
yeah, we have next week. We have already have a guest lined up, right? And
Yes.
the guest is a CEO of a very local company that's making applications and online solutions. And we're going to talk about branding the country. And
Yes.
it's Rajiv Hiralal. Rajiv, if you see this, you've already confirmed, so you can't walk away now. And yeah, this episode will be released this weekend. Last week's episode with Vishant was already released. If you missed that, check it out on the website. Was a very great episode talking about health, a healthy lifestyle, and balancing it. Um, very good stuff in there as well. And the other series are coming along slowly. The first episode of Casual Confoes 2020 got published 18 minutes ago. So you can check that on the website as well. And we hope to see all of you again in next week's episode, Tuesday at 9 p.m. With that being said, Jean-Luc, lead us out.